I'm working on my old rock saw. It's got 3 stickers. It says Target, it says Quickie, it says Impulse. I suspect it's a Quickie 4512. So it's a 12-inch saw. Runs okay. It's been doing an awful lot of work. However, I had a few issues yesterday. First, whoops. You know, it has been running like that for probably since I have been borrowing it. So we'll get a new one of those. But here's the real problem. The bearings in that hub have gone bad. Right now it's a bearing issue. I'd sure hate for it to go beyond that. Oh yeah. Lots of grumbly goodness. So I sure hate for it to go beyond that. So I'm going to disassemble it. I'd be very surprised if replacement bearings for this saw were more than, my bet, all total with shipping, 20 bucks. We'll see if I come in less than that. But I gotta get this apart. I don't know whether I'm gonna have to press it or whatnot. I don't want to be beaten on anything. But we're gonna get this nut off here at least, and then if it turns out that I need pullers or whatnot, well, obviously I don't have them in the back of the pickup, so we'll have to come back to that. Once I got it apart, this, you can see it's keyed. It's got a little half moon keyway. Make sure we don't lose that. And now it appears that this will press out or tap out, maybe with a woolen mammoth. Yeah, tap it out with a woolly mammoth, guys. Because it clearly only goes on one direction. As you can see that there's a machined flange, so it's never going to go that direction. It's got to come back out this way, and we're there. Sorry, I don't have any way to hold and film today, but you just gently tap that in, spread that joint. I did have to slip it out in order to get that washer off because it ended up hitting up there, but it's not a super complicated thing. Having a torch on hand would have definitely made that an easier deal to accomplish, and it's got a keyway in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. The bearings are the same, side to side. I went and checked them. These are Polish. It is 623RS. 623RS. It's hard to tell if they were a shielded or a sealed bearing. Like I said, they are the same on both sides, so you need a pair of them. So far it has been taken apart with that ratchet, this screwdriver, and this piece of wood. Not super complicated. We've got that spacer, which means about all you do is put the bearings in and tighten this son of a bitch up. It doesn't appear to be a crush spacer. No, that's steel. So we've just got a bearing spacer. There's no real preload that I can see. That must be the preload right there. So don't, when you guys knock the bearing out of the housing, assuming yours falls out the way mine did, assuming yours doesn't fall out the way mine did not, don't damage that. Find yourself a piece of pipe or a punch or something that fits just on that bearing and give her some gent tappity taps. Don't damage that preload spacer right there. When I put it back together, I'll try to make sure. It's winter time. Snotty nose. When I put it back together, I'll try to make sure I've got something to hold the camera on. There again. If you're watching this with the idea that you want to fix your own saw, the fact that you want to fix your own saw means you already know enough how to do it. Just don't whack on things with metal tools. Okay? And other than that, you'll be fine. Remember I said 20 bucks? There is a pair of Timkins, $17.29. So that's what I'm putting in it. I could have actually gotten 4 of them, $2.50 a piece. But I fingered that I would spring. I'd spring for Timkins since it's not my saw. So I'll put better bearings in it than what came out of it, in theory. I'm pretty sure they all come off the same assembly lines anymore, but I put Timkins in it. And since it was under my 20 buck limit there, they come up with a slightly different part number, but I did look them up. They're a 1740-12, and I'll get all the way back in a sec. But the new part numbers are 6203-2RSC3. 6203-2RSC3, and my understanding is it gives me a better sealing surface. So days have gone by. UPS Santa Claus has showed up, and my Timken bearings are here. So we have two things, right? We need to get the bearing off of this. Doesn't appear to be too overly complicated as long as it doesn't explode. I'm just going to put it in the vise and tap gently. I believe she'll pop right off. And then we got that bearing down in there, which we do not want to destroy. This preload, some sort of spring E-clip. So I'll need to get probably a socket that fits just on that bearing, and then we can tap that out. I better show you how I'm doing this before it's all done. But so there, I've just got the vise, right, and it's sitting on top of the jaws. I usually that's all I'm doing. Anyways, coming right apart there. So just a few more tappity taps. We'll have that done, and then we'll go to the other one. Well, there's your problem. Okay, and then I got this custom made tool here. So that socket fits down inside, doesn't touch that ring. There isn't quite enough room to tap it all the way out here, but this is going to move way easier than that one did. So this is the two, and once again, just tappity tap tap tap, and that'll drop out the bottom. You're just going to take my word for it. I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to go tap tap tap, and I'm going to hold a bearing in my hand when you cut back to me, or I cut back to me. When it's a team effort. Ta-da! Actually, it fought pretty good. There is that washer setup. Not much for preload. Clean that pocket out. We should be able to put the new bearing in. If it wants to go in as hard as it went out, I will probably get the torch and warm this, since it's so cold in here. My bearings should be shrinking up nicely there. And I guess technically when I go to put the bearing on that one, I should actually warm it up or whatnot. Went in perfect. I warmed it gently, although I don't know that I don't think it was necessarily required, but had to tap her down in there. This one I suspect is going to go on a little harder, but it's still not complicated. I've got my vise here. The jaws are set wide enough that they won't damage this arbor, and just a matter of tapping her down there. Once again, you're not going to want to use metal tools. You're going to want to use a block or something. I came back down here. It didn't want to go with tapping. I had to actually wrap on it pretty good, and I didn't want to do that on top of my table saw. But if I'd have put the arbor in the freezer for a couple hours and put this in like a toaster oven and bring it up to like 150 or something like that, 100 degrees, warm, whatever warm is on your toaster oven, that they probably would have just falling right together. Everything's cold, unhappy, so I just tapped them together. I kind of started putting it together and sort of forgot to film, but honest, it's just not that complicated. So you put the bushing on your spindle, you slide your spindle in from the other side, tap it till that bearing is seated, flip it around, tap it so that bearing is seated, slip in your keyway, slide on your pulley, tighten it up. You gotta put the bushing. So if you got that in a pile of parts when you're all done, I'm sorry to say you have to take it back apart. After that, it's just a matter of putting it back together. And, you know, you might toss a belt on it while you have it apart. No big deal.
There you go. All it takes is one pull of the ripper to know way better. No noise. Slowly.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. That's a huge difference.